How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Boylei Hobby Time. This week I'm going to be doing a little bit of monster hunting. Well, I'm not going to be doing the monster hunting this little guy here is, and I had originally wanted him to be on his horse, but decided for a more dynamic pose with him on the ground and the horse beside him looking kind of like it was being spooked by the monster. I built up the left side of the diorama with some 1-inch styrofoam on the top, which will make up the cliff face. And then the bottom is 2 layers of foam that I got from the middle of some foam core. Peeled off the paper, and this is great stuff to work with. Once those were glued together, I got out the handheld hot wire and I began carving away at the cliff face. I made some mostly horizontal lines running across the face, moving the tool in and out to create little cracks and crevices to try and create a natural looking cliff face. I then marked where I wanted the cave to be. I switched the tip on the hot wire cutter. I carved that out. I also used it to add a little bit more detail to the rock surfaces. A few more little cracks here and there. And to complete the texture, I used a tin foil ball. It was time to move on to the plaster. I like to mix up 60% plaster, 20% paint, and 20% Mod Podge. This creates a nice pasty consistency. I like to apply it with a brush so I can get into all of the cracks, crevices, and hard to reach areas. And then I usually use a glove to cover the large flat areas. Adds a really nice texture and it helps protect everything from the spray paint. When that was dry, I applied an icing to the apple strudel, and then I spread that out with a paintbrush. Luckily, this stuff is nice and sticky, so all of the sand and pebbles that I put on there stayed put when it was all dry. I used a few different sizes of sand and pebbles, and I used some isopropyl alcohol to help everything spread out. Once that was dry, it was time to prime. And then it was time to design the monster. I went into Hero Forge to get the main form down. It saved me quite a bit of time. Then I put it over into Nomad Sculpt on the iPad to do the rest. The idea for this thing is that it is a psychopathic Sasquatch loner that has been outcast from the Bigfoot community because it's too crazy. So just imagine it's basically if Gollum had a kid with a Bigfoot. This is their kid. I exported and printed 2 different files. One has the full face showing, the other one has hair over the face and just the eyes are showing. And I had a hard time deciding which one I liked better, but in the end I decided on the one with the full face. Looked a little scarier. Once I had cured that, primed everything with a zenithal highlight. I stuck them on some Games Workshop figure bases so that I could mount them to my painting handle more easily. And it was time to start painting. I think in this Wild Western world, monster hunters are very similar to bounty hunters. They get paid a lot of money to catch monsters, dead or alive, for whatever reason. You know, maybe they were hired by the railroad company, or they were hired by a farmer, or a trophy collector. There's lots of valid reasons for monster hunting in this universe. I painted up this Sasquatch to look like most of the Sasquatches that I have seen, either in fuzzy videos or blurry photos. Gave it some nice bright white eyes, and I also added a little bit of green in between some of the fur to make him look a little bit moldy and mossy from living in a musky, damp cave for so long. It was time to paint the terrain. I've been extending the life of these washes with an isopropyl alcohol. I think it's time to make some new washes. I added some black 3.0 to the back of the cave to help make it look deeper. I also painted the top and the sides with black 3.0. I dry brushed the tops of the rocks and the sand. I wanted this to look kind of like it was in a desert canyon. I darkened the ground in front of the cave and in the little ditch to help it look a little more wet. And once that was done, I added the figures to all of their places. And I added a gloss varnish over the darker area to make it look a little bit more wet, but not like it was flowing water. Once that was done, I called it good. Here is some bonus footage for you guys. These are all of the Wild Western builds that I have done so far on one table, including the one with the alligator. It is a different scale, but same universe. I have plans to expand this pretty far. Obviously with the town, I'm going to be building that out, a few more buildings on the left, and then a road and more buildings on that side. Definitely going to be building more monsters. These two are pretty standard monsters. I want to come up with some more original ones, maybe some water monsters, more mechs and things like that. Anyways, there's a lot of cool stuff to be done. I'm really enjoying this series. I hope you are too. And I want to just thank you all so much for watching. Have a great week.